Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of According to Sacha Podcast. And, this is our conversation series that we have. It comes to you every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're here with you with another guest, another professional, business owner, whatever it is, artists, whatever their zone of genius is. That's who we have on the show. So tonight we have a special guest. Her name is Alasha Bennett. She's the founder of the Bennett Center and the wonderful Kid Expo. I know you guys have seen me post about it. I'm going to be doing live media there. So I'll be coming to you live and direct from the Kids Expo. And doing a lot of broadcasts. So, I always do the Young CEO Hour monthly. So we're going to have a lot of young CEOs on this Saturday for the month of August. So whoever's going to be brave enough to sit down and talk to me, that's who we're going to showcase and highlight for you guys. So you know what to do. We're here every Thursday night. Like I said, I want you to like, follow, and share all of our platforms. You know where we're at. We're here live via StreamYard. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and then we're also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, Amazon, the list goes on. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We're everywhere. And I want to always thank you for everything that you do, for all the likes, all the follows, all the shares, all the subscriptions, everything, downloads, everything that you're doing. You're not just doing it for me and my platform, but you're also doing it for the guests that I bring onto the show. And the more that you do that, the more the word about what the wonderful things they have going on will get out there into the airwaves, streets, and everybody's ears, and pages and all that good stuff. So I'm going to have one video to play, and then after that, I'm gonna have Alasha up here with us. And stay tuned. Entrepreneurship, small business, is something that everybody would love to do, making their own money. And this is what we will be talking about on According to Sacha. Hey, Alasha, how are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. So there's a question I ask everybody on this show when I get started. And I did not warn you about this question.
Okay.
But it's going to be okay.
Okay.
All right. So tell me, who is Alasha Bennett?
Oh, that is a big question.
Mm-hmm.
Where I wear many hats.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I wear many hats and do a lot of jobs. I will say that Alasha is compassionate. She's loving. She's forward moving. Right. She wants to see people grow and people accomplish and be great. That's who she is.
All right. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I mean, being a compassionate person in these days, it means the world because we all need it. And then also with you're working with the Kids Expo and the kids and helping them to build their business and showcase their business. And I mean, it does take a special person to want to really, give back to the youth and help them to really, shape and mold themselves as entrepreneurs. So tell me a little bit about that process and how that's been, and more about the expo and how you got started and all of that.
Absolutely. I'll try to take those one at a time. Let's see. A lot going on there.
Uh-huh.
5 years ago, I started my nonprofit organization, the Bennett Center, and it really was focusing on a school because I'm a homeschool mom of 3. I have a 23-year-old, a 15-year-old, and an 8-year-old, right?
Okay.
And they've all been homeschooled. They all are homeschooled. And I really wanted to create an environment for other parents who didn't want their children to be in public school, and they wanted another space, another place where their kids can grow and thrive. And so that's what the Bennett Center started out as. And it still is moving in that direction. But as an entrepreneur myself, I started to get my kids into being entrepreneurs. All 3 of my kids are authors. All 3 of my kids have their own brands. And so I said, well, wait a minute. What makes our school different from all the other schools that are out there. And that's what would make us different. Being able to teach to entrepreneurship and bringing whole families out of poverty, which is what our organization is based on. And just being able to teach children life lessons without them having to be adults to learn them.
That's good.
Like they can learn them now, right?
Yeah.
They can learn skills now without having to go through a lot of hard lessons in life in order to learn them. Yeah.
I love that. I love that when you I mean, that's a lot there because a lot of people don't think like that. It's like we get out here, and even when we were younger, we had our things, we did our thing and everything. And for the most part, we were ready to be grown or like everybody want to say now, adulting. And we never think about, the things and experiences that we will go through. Because the only thing we know is, hey, there's tomorrow. We got tomorrow. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we're going to go after our dreams or whatever else. And then life happens. And so being able to teach kids life lessons now, and it's something that they don't really teach a lot in public schools. You're giving them something where they can say, okay, you know what? I have this life skill. I have this skill set that I'm developing now at my age. Or, we see so many youth and so many children who are very gifted and talented. And you could take that and shape and mold it. Just like you said, your 3 kids, are all authors. So what was it in them that you saw, that you said, okay, you know what, I could pull this out of you and make you something great now?
I'm always for finding your gifts early. And that's kind of, how I thought of my kids, allowing them to practice their gifts or really discover what they are now so that they don't have to wait till after college they don't have to, number one, go to college and not know what they're going to do, right? If they decide to do that, allowing them to already know this. Now they know what career path they're going to go in. They know what direction. They know if they want to go to college at all, right? We push college a lot on our kids, and college is not bad at all, right? Educating yourself is not bad at all. But sometimes our kids go to school and they have no idea what they're good at, what they want to do, and then we expect them to just figure it out, right? And then we get out of college. A lot of us have gone to college, and when we get out of college and the degree that we have, not only do we not want to do that, but it's really not, there's no jobs for that.
Yeah.
Right. So being in a place of being able to fill a need so that you can be able to take care of yourself, that you be able to actually have money and a job to take care of yourself. And if there isn't that position, creating one for yourself. And that's the entrepreneurship, actually creating your place, right? Where you can sell your goods and your services, right? To people that actually need you or your product or your service.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We see so many stories, out here on the news or, whether the kids on TikTok, social media, wherever they are, and they're doing some amazing things, just, across the world. And you always come across one person that you just, everything just lights up about them. But to know that, in our area, we have so many here in our own backyard that are doing some amazing things. So I would say, for the time frame that you've been working with kids in entrepreneurship, like, who would be like your top 5 that have stood out in such a way or have grown from your service?
Oh, she's trying to get me in trouble, y'all. If I don't say someone, then it's going to be like, what about me? What I can say is that all of our kids are phenomenal. They all have their own gifts and, their own place. I will say that there are some kids who really get into being an entrepreneur and they really take it further than the other kids, which is okay, right? They're learning. Everyone is learning and growing. There are a couple of kids that we have now that have really, pushed the envelope. We have our 14-year-old artist. She does Black art. She's amazing. Miss Jada James, Jules by JJ. She is phenomenal. If you haven't seen her work, go on to her Facebook page, Jules by JJ, and you're not going to believe that she's 14 years old, right? You're just not going to believe it. Um, we have Jasmine Thomas.
Mhm.
She's Girls Living Boldly. She has a business of female empowerment.
Oh,
She's 15 years old, and she is all about girls 11 to 17 being able to pretty much own their power, right?
wow.
And teaching them how to do that early, self worth early,
Mhm.
community early.
Yeah.
She's an author, right? She has her book, Girls Living Boldly.
Oh.
And then we have Adventure Time Eli. He's an
Mhm.
author as well. He deals with everything nature, right?
Okay.
So he talks about anything you ask him about nature, he can tell you, whether it's amphibians or like he's on it, right?
Mhm.
They'll all be at the expo. Uh,
Okay.
and so you'll be able to see them and interview them as well. But yeah, these kids are phenomenal. They're amazing. The one thing I say, I tell people my organization is about bringing whole families out of poverty, and
Mhm.
I talk about my three kids and how they have, their brands and uh,
Mhm.
what they have going on, and then I talk about my mom who's over 70 years old, and she now has two children's books out. So it's you catch the bug, right?
Yeah.
You catch the bug of being able to accomplish some things that you probably thought you would never be able to do. But watching these young kids, it's just watching them is amazing. They give you so much encouragement and spark and hope just watching them do it. You know,
Mhm.
as adults, we're like, if I say, hey, let me help you make a book, you'll go, yeah, but they might not buy it, or you'll have all of these reasons why you can't do it, right?
Uh-huh.
But with a child, if you say, "Hey, let me help you do this. Let's make a lemonade stand. Let's do it." They'll be like, "Okay, let's do it." They have no fear, right?
Yes.
Adults have all these things, in our mind about the world and how they're going to perceive us.
Mhm.
These kids are like, whatever, to them it's fun, right?
Right.
And so being able to do that for them is really been a joy for me.
Yeah, and that's amazing because when you really think about it, just that when you think about kids, you think about like the fearlessness. They're fearless, they are innocent, it's so many things about them that I think we as adults, when we turn to that adult age, whatever it may be for whoever, that part does go away. It's like when life happens, those things, a part of us that was once there, we just fall into the norm of everything. It's like you said, if it comes down to a person, they're second guessing themselves as adults. So, not everybody, but some people. And but it's like what you're doing, this is the formative years of an age to really build and draw that out of them. One of the things that I always like to I'm a mom too, and my daughter's grown, but but just thinking about how we were when we were kids, what were our dreams, what were our aspirations,
Mhm.
and I always think about that, and it's like, okay, how many of us can say, even the audience out there, you want to chime in, how many of us actually can say we end up doing the things that we dreamt of when we were younger,
Mm.
the things that we played around with, the things that was just like, oh yeah, how many of us had the microphone in our hand in the mirror or whatever, and for some reason you didn't go that route. For me, I thought about that and I was just like, let me think back. Well, I love animals, so I always like, oh, I want to be a veterinarian, or I took a lot of business, and I'm doing a lot of business stuff now, but I was always acting like I was in somebody's office or all these different things, and or microphone in the hand. So there are so many things that I know that I did do back then. But then when my daughter was, growing up, when she was a kid, I pushed her. When she started talking about, oh ma, I want to be a surgeon. I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and look at that. So it's very important, parents out there, when you have young kids, to really see what it is. Like, we're here to help them grow in the direction they are supposed to go. It's not all about what we want them to do or anything like that. And sometimes we learn that as parents late or whatever, but when we see our kids end up doing what they want or where they're supposed to go anyway. But
And then we say, "Oh, when you were a kid, you used to do that all the time." All right?
yeah, be like, okay, so why you encourage me, but that's the thing. It's like crazy. I used to I saw this it was an ad, a Facebook ad recently. And I don't know how long if you grew up in this area or not, but I know years ago there was this Barbizon model school.
Mhm.
And Barbizon was really big. I'm like, I always try to date myself out here whenever I'm talking. But when I was a teenager, Barbizon, that's all you saw, all you heard. And it was just like, oh, I want to be a Barbizon model. Like when I was younger, that was one of my aspirations. And so I think that's why I take so many selfies now. That inner model be coming out. It be coming out of me sometimes. You know, but I think about the what if. What if I did go forward in that, where
Mm,
I be where I'm at right now a lot sooner or what? So that's why
mm,
I'm like, when I think about that, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and just pour that into your kids, whatever it is, help them cultivate it and let them grow beyond. Now, my daughter now, I just helped her go along the way, but I let her make her own decision when it came down to it. So she went from wanting to be a surgeon to a nurse practitioner. But she's still in the medical field now. She's an RN and she's an OR nurse and all these things. So, and she's happy and she's found her gift and her niche, in that. So I would ask now, what would be some of the advice that you have given to parents? I know you're cultivating, the kids in their entrepreneurship journeys, but what about the parents? How do you help them, handle that entrepreneur child or teen?
Um, One of the things that I definitely like to teach is the financing and setting them up for success,
Mhm.
because we miss that a lot of times. And that's one of the pivotal things that you want to be able to, because I can only do so much. I'm not the guardian, right? But I can give them the information in order to set themselves up for greatness.
Mhm.
Um, it's it's a learning curve for the parents as well, because a lot of
Mhm.
the parents don't know this information for themselves,
Right.
right? And then I start teaching this information to them, and so that they can continue it with their kids, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't anybody tell me this when I was, when
Yeah.
I wish there was someone to tell me this when I was younger, right? So I
Mhm.
think a big portion of it is really teaching the financial and the business part of being a business owner with
Mhm.
them. And then some of these parents go on to say, hey, Alasha, I want to do a book, or hey, I've been thinking about this business idea. What do you think? Right. But as far as them, coming alongside of their kids, just really telling them to nurture that gift. If your
Mhm.
kid wants to, and it doesn't have to be something gigantic. You don't have to take out loans, right? Right? Like start off small. Now with my own kids, um, nobody knows this, but this is my rule, right? If they talk about it 3 times, I do it, whatever it is that they
Mhm.
do. So, and I have them research it, and I have them, okay, you want to do that? Great. And I just casually, oh, well, go research it and tell me what, and then see what they do with that.
Okay.
If they're really interested in it and they're showing me pictures and they're showing me websites and they're bringing it up and they're always talking about it, and
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, they're really interested in this.
Mhm.
And I learned that I have three children, but with my first child, she was in everything. She modeled, she soccer, she did, like, she was in, if I was soccer mom, right?
Uh-huh.
And it ran me ragged, right? Ran me ragged. She does none of those things now, right? It was good experiences for her, but she does none of those things.
Right.
So I try to, and that's just my own personal, I always, parents know their children,
Yeah.
and they know when their children are really into something, or
Mhm.
it's just like something they saw on TV and then it just fizzles out, right? but that's the rule I use with my own children. If they're
Mhm.
researching it, if they're still talking about it a month later, if they're still, then it's like, okay, let's go ahead and research this a little bit more and see what I can do to help you realize, what it is that you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good rule. Because in that way, like you said, it's in them. It's like they can't even pull themselves away from it because they keep
Mhm.
gravitating towards it. That's wonderful. And I just love it. I love listening to what you're saying and how you're really building up. the young entrepreneurs. And even if they don't go into being an entrepreneur, but at the same time, you're still teaching them those skills and know that whatever it is you want to do, even if it's a career, go for it. If it's in you to do it, go for it. So let's talk about this expo a little bit more. Let's dive in because it's this Saturday.
It is. It
Are you
is,
excited?
girl. Excited and ready for it to be over at the same time. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's just a lot of work goes into, making sure that everybody is good and the guests are going to be good and the kids are going to be good. It's a lot of work.
I know.
Rewarding, but a lot of work.
I know exactly what you mean. I've produced events for years, and it's all that hustle, is the bustle with it and everything. But when you're on that day of, and you can you still can't breathe completely, but you can take at least two more breaths that you usually wouldn't, take before the time frame. But when you see everybody happy, and you see that plan just come together, and it's just like, that's where that joy, and you could just forget about it. It was like, oh yeah, all that running around was worth it.
Correct.
Like you said, it was so rewarding and everything. So how many kidpreneurs are you going to have? So right, not an exact number, but around about or whatever you're going to have on Saturday.
Yeah, so it's about 50 kids that are going to be there. We have a kid DJ. We have some kid performers. Yeah, and he's phenomenal. Like this kid DJ, like you guys think I'm like trying to big up these kids, but they're honestly we have kids that they sold products just so that they can get up the money to come and pay for their own vendor spot. I've heard so many parents say, "Oh no, they paid for their own vendor spot. Oh no, they saw this flyer and they wanted to come to this. Mommy, can I really come? Can I really go to this thing?" So, and they had to earn their own money in order to come. So it really is a big deal. I know that we're saying, oh, cute, it's the kids, they're running real businesses. We have a kid zone. We're going to give away 300 backpacks with supplies on that day. So there's going to be a train out there that the kids can ride. So yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So it's really a day of family fun. Like, I tell people, come out just to have your child see something different.
Yeah.
Let them put their phone down and actually come out, and they're going to be networking because they're going to be talking to other kids, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be in a different environment where they're being inspired.
Yeah.
They might want to be a baker or try their hand at that. They might want to make slime or take, you know what I mean? They might want to do a book, right?
Right.
So being able to really get the bug and just be inspired by that whole thing.
Yeah.
We have to teach our kids that, like you were saying earlier, they may not want to be entrepreneurs, right? What I tell kids and parents, that we always talk about 7 streams of income. Well, how do you get there? You got to have multiple things going on, right?
Yeah, right.
You being an author I take them as young as 5. So you being an author at 5, you can sell that book when you're 55, when you're 105. Like that book never goes out of style, right? Like you can sell that book forever. That is one stream of income that you can have forever, right? So teaching that and being able to let people see that it's possible. Like we always think like that's impossible. How am I going to have 7 streams of income? How am I going to, right? But then being able to see it, okay, that's one way. Okay, I can still go to school because I want to be a doctor, right? But now I'm going to write a medical journal, or I'm going to write a children's book, or I'm going to, you know what I'm saying, and still be able to have those streams of income. And it's amazing. It's the things that we can learn and do in this life if we only knew that we could.
Yeah. And that's the key right there. Knowing that we can. And you're never too, like you said, you take them as young as 5 as far as authors or even entrepreneurship, but you're never too old to even start either. It's like I've always reading articles and things like that. And it was like Donna Karen, her story. And she was like in her 50s No, was it Vera Wang or Donna Karen? It was one of Vera Wang. Vera Wang was in her 50s
Okay. When
when
she
she
started making
made
dresses. Yeah.
exactly, you know, and her name became this, you know, household name or just everywhere. She was like 55 or something like that.
Mhm.
You know, so it's like you're never too old to start anything. So all those retirees that are out there, you know, if you have a idea or something, don't think you're too old to get that idea started. You know, one of the things that I will always say, you know, the pandemic really did show us a lot of things when it started, when it happened. Those first 2 years, I mean, we're still going through what we're going through, but the impacts of those first 2 years, you know, it really did show us something. It showed on one side the resilience of people, because you know you had a lot of people that started businesses or they went online and just started being digital creators and all this other things, even as you know older adults. But then also you had a lot of businesses that closed, you know, so it really put you on that side of the fence of like where are you going to go, where are you going to be at when it comes down to it. And those who say, oh, you know what, I found a resource, let's make it happen and just go ahead. Some people, you know, just did things because they were bored, but you know now these top influencers and brands are coming after them at
Yep.
60 some years old or 5 or whatever the age is, you know. So it's never too late and never too early. And what you're doing, I love the part when I read in your bio about um you're there to give a hand up and not a hand out. And
Mhm.
by you, you know, really giving the tools and the skills to really build the skills within those children and even the parents, because they're seeing it, and that's, you know, igniting them, you know. So it's just like, you know, how much more greater, you know, it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm excited to be there with you guys on Saturday. I'm just like, I love doing, see, you'll find out on Saturday. You know, I'm
Okay.
kind of reserved right now, but one thing I do, I love doing my lives.
Okay.
People who follow me for a while, they'll know. But a few months ago, some friends of mine had a kid pop-up shop over at Military Circle Mall. So they were like, yeah, you can come on us. I think I'm gonna pop up. So I popped up. I was like, can I bring my stuff with me? Had my table, I set up everything, and I just did impromptu. You know, I popped up too, you know, and did a live broadcast, you know, on the show. And so I really do appreciate you allowing me to participate with you guys and partner as media. And but I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna have
Oh,
some fun.
I hope that you do. Like it's
Yo,
reaching out and saying, hey, you know, I want to have some kids on my show, so that we can partner up because it's that's a skill as well.
yeah.
Like they get to see you being there, and they might say, wow, I want to be in radio.
Hmm.
Wow, I want to do media. Wow, I want to be a host or interview. You know, I want to do the news. Like
Yeah.
you're part of that as well. So I know you're coming there to have fun and do your thing, the kids, but realize that you're also inspiring
Yeah.
the next writer, the next media personality, the next, you know, they're sponges. Kids are
Yeah.
sponges. So to just allow them to take in all of that is just it's gonna be a wonderful day. It's gonna be
Yeah. It is. Thank you so much. And you know, and I'm sitting here thinking, you know, just listening to you talk, I really appreciate all those good things you just, you know, shared with me. But believe it or not, and I don't know how many other people, I don't really share a lot with everybody, but this wasn't even my path.
mm,
You know, it was so weird because um when I was in school, so when we talked about going to college and not knowing what we wanted, I was one of those. So I was
right.
just like, okay, look, I want to do this. I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing that. It's like I'm, you know, you just have so many creative ideas, or you just, you know, that's just me. I'm just like that. But
Mhm.
I had my biggest thing was, oh, okay. So when I go to school, I'm going to go to school and do like, I had this one cousin, you know how we have family members, they're like, they're cousins, but they're like brothers or sisters.
Mhm.
And so he was like a big brother to me. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go to school and do what he did. He was going to school for mass communication. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go for mass communications. And so I went and did the tour and off the state and everything. And I'm like, the only mass communication interest, everybody else was journalists. So
Mhm.
I have to go see all the journalist stuff, all those rooms, everything, and then go to the mass communication section. So I'm like, huh. But not knowing, you know, things will, if it's already in you, those little seeds are just dropping the entire time, right?
Mhm.
And so I went from there. I ended up going to school, and I was just like, okay, well, I don't think that's what I'm gonna do now. My mom's an accountant. I'm gonna be an accountant too, so she can help me with my homework. So I'm just like,
Okay.
I'm gonna, but I end up getting my business degree, and so, but I have this quote, and I always say, the thing that you shy away from is the thing that you end up doing.
Mm.
Here I am doing the podcast. Here I am doing media. I forget that I'm media sometimes. I have to like, oh yeah, that's part of what I do because I enjoy it. And and it's just like here I am. So it took
Mhm.
years for me to show up to where, I probably would have been. But it's also a good thing because when you're going along your paths, you find out what it is that you really should be doing. But
Mhm.
it's such more value and a greater magnitude. So I say that to say that even with the kids that you're working with, and they're starting out now, like how much greater are they going to be? Like how many more businesses or inventions or, how are they going to impact and change the world? What is it that they're going to really be doing? Like this is what they're doing now, but, come 2 years, 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, you know, and knowing that you help shape them and put that mark upon them to do greatness and to go forward. So I'm just going to ask before we close out one more question. What's next for the Bennett Center? Is there anything you're at liberty to talk about or
Sure. Um,
okay.
uh, our next thing is we definitely want to build a school, the
Mhm.
entrepreneur school, and make sure that we get that going in this next year. We're also looking into because there's two initiatives. There's the entrepreneur program, but then we also do the gardening program where
Okay.
we teach families how to garden in 5-gallon buckets.
Okay.
And so we do that every fall. So kind of amping that up
Hmm.
into growing their own food and making sure they have gardens and those things. But now we're starting to teach those kids that have already been in the entrepreneur program. Our next thing will be teaching them how to then take that money that they've earned and put it into other investments and things. Start building that portfolio now so that
Hmm.
you can, you can see your money grow. So whether it's penny stocks or whether it's, just
Yeah.
have and putting on the path, just like you said, you have there's a young lady that's a lemonade. She makes lemonade, and now
Hmm.
she has a cookbook. And now
Hmm.
so all of her recipes are, vegan type recipes. And
Okay.
so that may push her into being a chemist. That may push her into being, we don't know.
Yeah.
There's chemistry in food, right?
Hmm.
What if you're the one that, draws out and comes up with some new invention, And
Yeah.
it's so much that they can get into
Yeah.
from just this little seed, as you said.
Wow, that's wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there bright and early on Saturday. And I already told you, I'm going to be there the whole day. Y'all be ready for a whole day. I might cut off and come back. Who knows? But I don't want y'all to miss it. So tell the people, like, where can they go to bring their kids? Like the website. Let me put your information up here as well. And
So the tickets are free.
mhm,
They don't necessarily need a ticket. It's easier if you already have a ticket to get through registration and all of that,
mhm,
to get into the actual expo. So you can find us on Eventbrite, um, the kid at Kidpreneur Expo. You can also go to thekidexpo.com, and register and get tickets there as well. And then you can see what the Kid Expo is all about and the program that we do with the actual kids. The kids that actually come into my program,
mhm.
um, we give them $1,000 in order to start their business. We
Okay.
help them with their LLC, business banking. We take them through a series of classes that's like marketing and product production and those types of things. And those kids will be there as well. But yeah, it's just to learn about the program. And if you want to help or volunteer, or you have a skill, you're a business person.
Mhm.
We're giving away $500 grants at this expo on Saturday. So it's just we're trying to make sure that we're encouraging kids to really get in there and and explore their gifts.
Oh, wow, that is wonderful. Wonderful. So you guys get your kids out here, and get them inspired. And, especially for a lot of parents be like, look, that kid need to get off the, playing the games all the time. But that even playing games, man, if you're going to play games, like play towards esports, there are so many different things you could do. But, a lot of parents will complain about their kids, always being in their rooms or always doing this or always doing that. This is the moment where you want to bring them out so they can see other kids in action and help them to get inspired, because you never know what's going on in the back of the child's head, what's really in their heart that they want to do, but they feel like because of their environment that maybe they can't do it.
And if they're in there playing those games, maybe they're going to be the next game designer.
Yes.
You never know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what they're doing all the time and that's what they love to do, and that's why I tell the parents too, anything that they love to do, you see them constantly doing all the time, push that. How can they turn that into money? And it's not about money, it's the whole process of learning what business is about, customer service skills, thinking on your feet, critical thinking, those types of things. That's what you learn being a business owner.
Mm-hmm. And that's something for everyday, life skills as well, that you pour in. So I love it. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And like I said, you guys, go ahead, the kidexpo.com, get registered, make it easy, bring your kids and just, watch what's going on and just get inspired yourself and just be ready to roll with something new. And if you want to support, Alicia's project and her school and everything, come on in, be a sponsor, donate, and all this other good stuff too. So I'm quite sure you will enjoy that.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been such a pleasure. And I will see you on Saturday. And thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye. All right, everybody. So I hope that you truly enjoyed tonight's show. And if you want to be a guest on the show, this is how you reach us, is according to Sacha@gmail.com. That's according the number 2, Sacha, SACHA @gmail.com. I always have to spell it because people get my name spelled wrong. For those who might be listening, that's how you do it. But if you want to be interviewed, reach out to us. We are going to be scheduling our 4th season. Our 3rd season starts in October. We have 2 more shows. I think it's 2 more shows. Whatever Thursdays we got left in this month. We have 2 or 3 more shows left in this month. And we'll break for the month of September. That's my birthday month, so we will take a break. And then we'll be back in our 3rd season in October for a few episodes. And then we'll break for the holidays and be back in January, maybe January or February. And that will mark our 1-year anniversary, but it will also be our 4th season of the conversation series. So if you want to be scheduled for 2023, reach out to us. We're going to start scheduling soon. Want to get you up here and talk about your business, talk about your projects, whatever it is that you have. One thing I do believe that the foundation of every industry is business. So if you are a music artist, if you are an author, if you, are creative in some form, as well as, a basic, service or product entrepreneur. If you're a creative entrepreneur, you have a spot here on the According to Sacha podcast or the conversation series. So I want you to tune in. And then also, if you're interested in being a show sponsor, reach out to us there at the email right here as well. And then we can give you information on how you become a show sponsor, where we will showcase your products and services on our platforms. And so I thank you for being with us tonight. Remember to command your day and everything you do, be great. I'll see you later, guys.